Welcome to Karl Marx Does the Washing Up,
where we ponder ludicrous metaphysical nonsense in the time it takes to make 5 Tesco's basic microwave meals.
which is around 21 minutes.
Yeah, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think we got to the point where we don't really
care about
how long
time.
the microwave is. As long as food's on the table,
Exactly.
we're good. We transcend the time like halfway through the first season. So
Halfway through? Maybe like from the first episode, I think.
okay, fine. You transcend the time. I'm slow. I lag behind you.
Wait. So I'm Shy Telly.
Oh shit! I'm Ilyas and Shy. Yeah.
And so season 2, baby.
Season 2. Boom.
We made it. We made it.
We made it. Yeah.
So season 1, I think we figured out what love is. So
Wait, what is love? Wait, what is love?
Well, we're not going through this again. We just did 28 episodes on what love was.
Yeah, but I've transcended time. Like I don't remember what happened.
Okay, just listen to season 1 if you want to know what love is. Like we're not going to go. We can't talk about it anymore.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll listen to it after this.
Listen to what Sheila said. Remember?
Oh, Sheila. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
She was cool.
So, which direction are we going in with season 2?
Well, I wanted to talk about like faith because something shifted in me recently.
Wait, what do
and
you
it's
mean?
taken me 10 years to get to this point, and I've just been spouting nonsense philosophy, and it's never actually landed. But recently, something shifted. I don't know if it'll last for long.
Okay.
But it's begun to have faith. Just faith in the universe and things that like
Okay.
life will turn out.
So faith in the universe in like, in what way? In like faith in coincidences, faith in karma, or just faith that things will go right? Or what do you mean?
Okay, so I think I've had like a lot of like philosophical ideas that kind of promote the notion of faith, and it kind of comes to this notion of all is as it must be, right?
Oh shit, it's
and
like
that's
Voltaire, right?
Yeah,
Candide, yeah.
Is that what
It's like all is well.
All is well, yeah.
Yeah, all is as it must be.
All is as it must be.
Yeah.
So I think that like encapsulates a lot of my ideas, but it's never fully landed because there's other blockages around that, which wasn't letting it like sit. And then I've got 3 extra caveats to that have, I think, allowed it to land a bit more. And one is the universe has a greater imagination than I do.
What caused that?
Okay, well, so what? Okay, I'll give you the 3 caveats,
and then I can analyze them, and then we can break them down.
Oh yeah, but it was because of an experience that I had.
Okay.
I think. But anyway, so the one is the universe has a greater imagination.
Wait, sorry. So the overarching statement is that all is well.
Yeah, everything's happening the way it's meant to be happening.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I think it's a lot about like taking the decision-making center outside of yourself and understanding that, we always think that the things that are happening are being done onto us.
Yeah, but I think we do kind of live our lives this way, though.
Yeah, and so I think you really do live. You don't give some fucking pretentious intellectual like background to it, but you live. And like actually, my shift towards faith is actually a lot to do with your sort of non-attachment way of living that you've kind of helped like educated me in.
Maybe you should stop trying to be me, though. I'm joking. Let's do.
We know your esteem's high enough. Yeah. That's not a true statement.
Okay, wait. Do the caveat. Sorry, I interrupted.
Wait.
So caveat 1 is that the universe has a greater imagination than yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
So why would I choose? Why would I design my own life?
Yeah, for sure.
My own plan, my own reality.
Yeah. Number 2.
Number 2 is nothing really matters.
Yeah. Okay, I completely agree with that. Okay,
right.
Number 3.
At the end of the day, there's no decision that I've made that's really had grave enough consequences that has affected me.
Well, apart from starting the podcast.
Yeah, but also, okay. Yeah. Okay. But then, so the other thing is like, they say, yeah, but maybe it has, right? So the third thing is that, everything will be fine in the end, but the end never comes. So you never really know how things play out.
Because you just die.
Well, no, because the cause and effect, okay, if we say A leads to B, then that's because C hasn't happened, right? So once C has happened, then you rearrange the pattern, and the pattern of cause and effect is constantly shifting. So it's just always becoming a bigger and bigger picture and a more complex picture. So you don't know what's responsible for what and what's allowing what to occur.
Yeah. Well,
so
the same way, like we were saying, our intimacy issues are really down to the fact that we ate that bad peach when we were 8 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Not due to the one bad relationship that we had last week or something.
Yeah, and who knows? Like,
everything's just like
maybe the peach gave you food poisoning, and the food poisoning led you to
Yeah.
all this like series of, like through the catharsis of throwing up, you gain faith.
Yeah.
But it took 8 years later after starting a podcast.
So the thing is, I do. So okay. So let's break it down into several things. Okay. Or have you got more to say?
Well, yeah. No, let's go with this. But I've got.
Okay, wait. Okay. So number one, why are we referring to it as faith? Why have you chosen the word faith?
I don't know. I guess for me, it just.
Because I think a lot of people do ascribe different names to it, like putting something in the universe, like that everything will be okay. Be karma, maybe.
No. It's not karma. The karma is different. Karma is very like cause and effect, Newtonian kind of notions of like you do good and it will be. This is more about about taking the center away from you, and it's just about saying that things will occur as they must, and you'll flow in the universe as it has to be. Okay,
so the counterbalance with that bit. How do you know that it will work out for the best?
But that's like, I mean, you don't know, but you just begin to feel it. Like it's once you. This way they say it's a leap of faith, right? So because you gotta jump into things, and these are the three statements. Well, the fourth being all is as it must be. The fourth statements that have allowed me to jump into this space.
It's very like Pangloss from Candide. I do. So I think I do live my life by this theory, but I think I intentionally put myself in positive situations because I think positive energy will come out of it. So if you're truly taking a leap of faith, I just don't think you can live in a world where you're completely outside of yourself.
No, of course not. Like I'm still like some ridiculous narcissistic, ego-centered, like Western constructed human being, but like shifting a little bit further away from that,
Yeah,
like,
okay.
And just having more faith in this idea, like not imposing your ideas onto the universe or this idea of you making the decision, because I mean, it comes into the little things that when things are happening, they're not happening to you and somebody's imposing them on you.
No, okay, no. So I completely agree with this. I think you're right. I think I do live my life by this code.
Yeah.
Maybe I never expressed it or explained it. But what caused this shift?
So
what's amazing? You've been waiting 10 years, right?
Yeah, I've been waiting. I guess for however long, and then randomly a few months ago, I was at this noodle bar, and a friend of mine who I met 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we had this strong connection.
I like that you still refer to him as a friend, even though you haven't seen him in 2 years.
Yeah, because we thought we were like the same people and we had been mitosized or something. But then for some reason we never actually spent any time or got in touch with each other.
Yeah, but why would you want to spend time with the same person?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So then...
so that's what I don't understand about love, actually. Yeah. Like people who marry the female version of themselves or the male version of themselves. That's a different chat, though. Sorry, go on.
I'm in this noodle bar reading like some book, Rothko or something, and
it really wasn't. It really was like Hello Magazine or something.
Yeah. Okay, but what's more Rothko than Hello Magazine?
Okay, no, that's true.
Okay, and this Rennie guy comes in, is in Koya as well, reading the same sort of thing.
Hello Magazine.
I think it was okay or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But and he's like, everything's okay,
Yeah, good joke.
And then we get talking and whatever, and then we wander around. Yeah. And I tell him some stuff like based on all like these ideas, and he's like, I'm struggling with these ideas. I think the sum of what I said is don't shy away from the cliche. If the cliche inherently resonates with you, then go for it.
Yeah.
He's changed his life based on this sentence. Like the next day, he told this girl he loves her and wants to get married and and stuff like that. A few days later, I'm randomly outside his house with Granny, with my grandma, and we go for lunch. And then he's broken-hearted because this girl
said
no. But he's in this completely freed state
because he took that leap of faith.
Yeah, and he's just like, I see the truth now. I see things as they are, whatever. And then we had another discussion. About like that day. It's just like 2 days later, and I was telling him like about like why I believe in God or whatever, and we spoke about science and the relationship between God and stuff. A week later, he's a Christian and he believes in God. Before he was like a complete scientist. So basically, I'm based on stuff which I had come up with like philosophical ideas and never really found a way to believe in myself fully in like a very deep, visceral way. Just after telling them to Rennie, he shifted immediately.
Yeah, but
but just his actual physicalness taught me. Whatever he was doing helped me to like live all my ideas which I didn't know how to live.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think Rennie's definitely shifted.
He's a nonsense.
He's definitely shifted. Maybe he was lost and maybe needed to shift. But I don't know if you've shifted. I think Rennie's definitely shifted. Like,
for sure.
In what way have you shifted?
In this faith direction.
Yeah, but and what's an example of you following that shift? Like,
I don't know, I don't think it really changes. Like,
no, but I think it's very easy to say that you now believe in this philosophy and you're now living it. But what's an example of you actually living it? Like, Rennie went and told that girl that he loved her. Rennie is now this Christian.
Yeah, but I don't think it has to be as
yeah, okay, but fine.
dramatic.
What's a little thing then?
Okay, well, like today, for example, I had to. Yeah, but I'm pretty chill with these things anyway. Wait. Okay, so I'm going.
I'm really chill with Hinduism, but like, what is the?
No. I mean, I'm saying for you, this might not sound like any different because you imagine me to behave in this way anyway. But like, okay, so today, I had to like return a box to Ikea or whatever, and they told me to go to this click and collect sort of place. I got to the click and collect place, and so I'm just running around London, going to this place, and they said that they rejected the box because they didn't say it was the right size, and then Ikea said it was the. This is fucking boring. It said that
This is the worst story you've ever told me.
Wait, yeah. So the click and collect guy, they refused to take it or whatever in Tesco's or whatever, and so then I had to come home. I went to another click and collect thing, and then I ended up coming home, and it was so the sort of typical idea that would be just like fucking cunting IKEA, this stupid like ridiculous capitalistic system that is fucking me in the ass and telling me how to live. They're breaking our hearts until we become bankers and like fall into this like cynical abyss of like chaos and
until you buy like
non-Marxist sort of situations.
Buy a flat that's already furnished.
But then the more sort of faith way to do it is just like I'll think in that way for like a second or a few seconds, and then it's just like, no, I mean, this is just what I'm meant to be doing, and I'll figure it out. Like, it's for whatever reason it's meant to be doing. Maybe I just needed the workout.
Yeah, okay. I think that is actually like a convoluted example, but it's actually a good example. Like a similar one for me.
It's only convoluted because you laughed at it.
No, it's only convoluted because you just like click and collect Tesco's IKEA. What are you doing? Okay. But I think a similar example that I had the other day is I turned the TV on and it wasn't working. So I saw that as a sign that I shouldn't be watching TV at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So I just turned it off and I lived my life. But the problem was that I came back the next day and the TV still wasn't working. Because obviously I'd made no attempt to fix it because I was like, it's a sign that I'm not meant to be watching TV. So then a week passed and the TV still wasn't working. Because every time I turned it on, I'd be like, shit, I'm not meant to be watching TV. Right?
Okay. So
wait, but then it then got to the stage where my housemate came in and fixed the TV. And then when I turned it on, it was working again. I was like, okay, now I'm meant to be watching TV. So
this is
like this
is the one thing that I'm been a little bit confused about, and I'm but I think it's taking too much of an intellectual perspective on it. But it's this idea is like, is it faith or is it apathy?
So this is the thing. I think it's two of the same. I think it's the same.
Yeah. So I think that there is a certain laziness.
Exactly. To not making decisions. Yeah.
But it's not that you don't make decisions. So I think the reason I'm not necessarily, I wasn't so pro giving an example. Like, I can give lots of examples of this, but the essential quality, but it kind of devalues it in a way because it's more about just following a feeling. And so the aesthetics of your life don't actually look any different. Like, people don't see anything different. It's just that accepting, it's been this shift from like not knowing, right? Like, where I've considered this complete, like, absence of articulable knowledge to a point where actually I know everything that's necessary to know, and I can react on that. And at some base, I know what's meant to be happening. And if I don't, it doesn't matter.
So that explanation makes me think it's not apathy, because it does take a lot of awareness to be aware of these feelings, I think, first and foremost. And also aware of the signs around you.
But I think the awareness is not so efforted. It's more just like an awareness that... Because if the awareness is not there, then it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what you do. You just go with whatever. So when the awareness, if it arises, the only thing that blocks the awareness is really this idea of questioning, is it meant to be done? Do I have to do this? What is it like? Should I make this decision? If something instinctively feels, you flow with it. If it doesn't, then you don't.
Yeah, no, but I think the reason why I asked for an example, I think it's, I do agree it's just following a feeling and stuff, and maybe there aren't examples But I do think it's important to make these sort of things relatable.
No, it's true. Yeah, for sure.
And I think maybe the apathy is when you said nothing really matters. Like, that's quite an apathetic
Yeah, it's quite
statement.
nihilistic.
Yeah, but then I don't know if you really think that.
Well, it's not that it's like, I think we give a grandioseness to all our decisions. Like, if I eat a chicken sandwich or a tuna sandwich, like, what the fuck is going to happen? Like, who gives a shit? Apart from maybe
if you're
the notion of vegetarianism and non-vegetarianism and people are dying and like... But I think at the end of the day, I've given a lot of energy to the decisions that I've made in my life. And I've also given there's a lot of decisions that I haven't given much energy to. And at the end of the day, like, my life's worked out pretty well, and there's no decision that I'm so regretful of. That I think...
Yeah, and I think we're happy. But maybe this philosophy isn't for everyone.
Yeah, well, I think there's a little bit, like, sometimes it's a bit easy to have faith when you've had a fairly somewhat easy life. Like, I think maybe in this state I can say, I feel like I'm in a state of having faith, but that's because maybe the last few months haven't had many challenges for me. Like, when something really profound, like, just hits you, then that's the challenge.
That's the true test of your faith, right?
Faith, yeah. Like, a box from Ikea isn't...
Okay, that's...
Although I do feel like this is stuff that a lot of people really get furious about.
Well, even just little things like tube delays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People really lose their shit about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe you aren't meant to be on that tube.
Yeah.
Maybe you're meant to be 10 minutes late. Yeah. But it's about extrapolating that to the big scenarios.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that person is meant to die. Or maybe that person isn't meant to be with me.
But I think if you can do it in the small scenarios to the point that it's like, it's occupying your daily life in that way.
Yeah, then it should be easier.
Yeah, it just becomes part of your person. And then when that sort of situation... I actually think it's easier to do it in some of the big scenarios than the little ones. Because a lot of people...
do shift into this state.
Yeah, and they search for a metaphysic.
Yeah, that's true.
When something big happens. They don't search for it when the tube is late.
Yeah, or when there's a plethora of sandwiches to choose from, right?
Yeah. Your mother dies, and then you're searching of a way to make sense of it.
Yeah, so
there's no tuna sandwich. You're not searching of a way to make sense of it. It's like, fucking,
I'm hungry.
Like, what the fuck is this? Why are the tubes late?
Yeah. Okay, and you're right. And I think I definitely embody this.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, like, this is part of why we get on so well, is because we're just fine. We'll roll a dice and go to a restaurant that the dice tells us to.
Yeah. Or we'll follow someone and go to the third one that they go past. Yeah, okay. The only thing is...
But this,
it comes to what you said about it being easy to live in this life.
But it's really hard to have the acceptance or the shift towards it, to let go. Letting go is hard.
Yeah.
Living in that space is easy.
Yeah, I just don't know if it leads... So it leads to the end, right? And you're like, nothing really matters. And then it ends.
Wait, what are you getting at?
So I'm just saying we're like meandering along. We're like pretty conscious that we're like living in this existence where nothing really matters. And then it ends. So then what's the point?
Well, more of a reason to like just enjoy that space.
Yeah, but if nothing
by not torturing yourself about the decisions.
Yeah, but also if nothing really matters, then how can we enjoy it? Like, any decision I make, it doesn't cause me negative, but it doesn't cause me a positive either.
But I think it's okay. So the idea that nothing really matters isn't that nothing
really matters.
really matters. It's just that your sense of agency in regard to what the things that are happening that actually matter is so minute compared to what you think it is.
Yeah, okay, so I do agree with that.
So the nothing really matters is kind of a way to cut through that bullshit in your life. Because at the end of the day, this decision, it's not going to affect much. And if it is, you don't know how it's going to affect and what it's going to play out into.
Yeah.
Like,
but I really enjoy living my life this way. But also part of me really wants to live my life in the complete opposite way, in that every decision matters.
Yeah.
Like, I think,
because it gives like a intensity to life.
Yeah, and I really want to think about what I want to eat for lunch. Like, even the small things, it would be amazing to really, really be like, this matters.
Yeah, but it's just tiring.
Yeah, but also I think people who like maybe are in great shape, like every decision about what they eat really matters. or like every decision about when they're going to the gym really matters, or like what exercise they're
don't
going
know.
to do.
I think those people are the ones in therapy, which we all are.
Yeah. Well, is this not therapy?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I think the hard thing maybe for me is also that I guess I've built my identity on so many ideas of like being, a passionate person or caring person or something who like I put a lot of energy towards things and stuff and find very specific important. But and so then it's hard. Like this passion seems like this thing, and it's considered, generally speaking, passion is considered to be a positive trait.
Yeah.
Right.
Until it becomes too much.
Even then it's considered, like these great artists are considered passionate to the point of madness or whatever. But and I think in our society we've been educated into ideas of ambition and effort.
I think
these
that's
sort
definitely
of
true.
things. So then you feel laziness. You feel like you feel bad about having faith. It's like you're not meant to.
Yeah.
So I think
conversely, you were saying like this shift, it does take a lot out of you. Having faith is it's not lazy in some way.
Well, I just found it more energizing. Like, obviously, I'm painting this as if I've like got total faith. It's just it's not at all true. I'm still like a
but still within this context of faith, there are some things that you feel more strongly than you had in the past.
Yeah,
like you still notice little things, but maybe you're noticing a few of them, but like those little things that you notice maybe take on a greater importance.
The few things. What do you mean noticing?
You're saying like previously you would notice little things about people and you'd be passionate and stuff. Like I think you'd still notice those things.
What do you mean notice things and be passionate? Like,
yeah, you just said that was your previous identity.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, making like curating things very specific.
Yeah, curating things very specifically, and you probably still do that, but maybe you just try and.
But I guess I'm not attached to the outcome. The idea is
you're
not being attached to the outcome.
Yeah. And I think that's a really healthy way to live.
Yeah, it's a lot about just attachment to outcome.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So now we're non-attached to outcomes, and I think that allows us to really push the boundaries of what we can do in a certain situation.
Yeah. And I think for me, like when I'm like painting, that's the state where like I find it easy to get into that space in the painting, but I don't find how easy to get to that space in real life. Okay. And it's also because that instinctive, I'm working off an instinctive element, and I just think the instinctive thing seems to know much better than the rational.
So I agree with that. The only thing is, how do we test our instinct? How do we know it's leading us down the right path? And number two, is it healthy to live your life without attachment to outcomes?
These are all like two rationalistic perspectives on like an instinctive behavior. You just got to live the instinctiveness for whatever, a few weeks, and then see how it affects you. There's no like trying to rationalize whether instinctiveness is beneficial is like so uninstinctive.
As someone who already lives this life, I don't know if it's healthy for us both to be living this instinctive life. We find it difficult enough as it is to record the podcast. Like,
I don't know if you live so. Do you live instinctively? I think you live unattachedly. I don't know if it's so instinctive. Is it?
I think it's a mixture of both.
You just follow the story.
I'm always chasing the story. We're all chasing the story, though.
No, I think this is different from chasing the story. Especially since you don't know what the story is. Like, that's what I mean at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, it'll be fine because the story will be a great story, but you'll never know what the story is until the pieces have come together.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, but also I think, so the way I live my life is that I'm not attached to the outcome, but that maybe really only comes about after the outcome. Like, regardless of whether it's a positive or negative outcome, I'm like, okay, and I'll just move on with my life.
Yeah, but that's exactly what we're talking about. That's it.
But I don't know if that's...
No?
But I think that is it. But I just don't know if this is a good shift for you to have made. But I suppose the only thing to do is to live it and then see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's great in this moment.
It's great in this moment.
I just have faith. Why are you worried we're just gonna say the same thing throughout the podcast?
No, I'm more worried about me shifting the other way. Like if you shift,
because we say we live the same lives.
Yeah. Like I'm worried about me shifting to your previous identity.
Oh shit!
Like really worrying about really attached to outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. No, I think you'll stay like this. But the instinctive thing, I think you can still become more instinctive. Because
yeah, that's true. No, I do agree with that. Yeah,
I think for me, a lot of this has come from actually also a shift in this, like, this, like, what is essentially the same, but what used to be like an epistemological nihilism, like not really believing that there is any knowledge. Shifting to a point where it's like
everything.
There's only one thing that needs to be known,
and that's it.
No, the one thing that you need to know is, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
That's the only thing worth knowing, right? Or important to know. What am I going to do next? And if you accept that you already know what you're meant to be doing next, and if you don't know it, it doesn't matter. Right? Then it just makes life so easy. Like there's a small shift from like a complete absence of knowledge to a totality of knowledge. And it's great.
So I completely agree with that. But then you're right, maybe that's where the laziness comes in.
Yeah.
But
why do we not need to be like, if we can, in school they're always like, it's the effort that counts. No, it's fucking not. It's the grades. You didn't get into
yeah, that's very true.
You didn't get into university because of the effort. You got into the university because of the grades.
I don't know, I really ascribe to this way of living, and I do generally think all is well. Yeah, but as you said, I think it's based on the idea that, our lives are pretty sweet. Yeah.
And we're young as well.
Yeah, our lives are...
like, there's a lot of fucking suffering in the world. And that's what makes things hard to conflict with this idea.
That's where I was going for. Yeah, like I think all may be well in our world, but like the rest of the universe maybe is not playing ball with that idea.
Yeah. So I think that is... So that's been a big blockage for me, I think. Yeah. That, how can you say all is well when there's like people dying and suffering in like, Syria and stuff. And
even just like around us.
Yeah, just around us. Like,
yeah.
But I do think the level of suffering that one experiences is like radically changed by this shift. And I don't know, like...
Yeah, okay.
I think faith does... I guess it's not a coincidence that when people get sick, they find faith or they have faith. But then that does put it under the microscope to say that, is this just people finding a philosophical idea to cope, and that it's not grounded in any real, true idea of reality?
Yeah, I mean...
but does it matter? That's the other question.
I don't think that matters, actually.
You don't think so?
No.
But that's because you don't care about truth.
Yeah, exactly. And also nothing really matters.
Yeah, nothing really matters.
Yeah. So my issue with this concept is that nothing really matters. And it comes down to this idea where I just don't need to explain myself, like ever. Because nothing really matters.
No, but it's... Okay, so... I think maybe this is just like a sentence that works really well for me, but it's not necessarily a sentence for everyone, because I think people have a lot of issues with a notion of like any form of nihilism or lack of free will
or any form of totality, like right?
It just sounds of totality.
It just sounds like a very finite sentence.
Yeah, I think it just cuts through a lot of shit.
Yeah,
but it's also not the most accurate sentence, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I do understand what you're saying though. But I think for me, this idea, it's hugely freeing to just consider something as like outside of your control.
Yeah, and me not as like this.
I think the key is the first caveat. That the universe has a greater imagination than yourself, and I think that's really the key to accepting this reality. And I think that's the sentence that we should have been focusing on. Focusing on that nothing really matters. But I think that's the greatest. Because I think that's easy to ascribe your faith to.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we're really just like...
But that's when the suffering thing you get challenges that sentence. Like, you're like, well, the universe has got a great imagination, but why is it making that guy, like, starve?
Yeah, but I think to truly believe in this, and to truly live your life this way, you have to be quite an individualist. I think you maybe have to only be able to think about yourself. No, prioritize yourself more than others.
I think this is shifting from us. There's slight shift from individualism. I think the idea of making all your decisions and putting yourself, like ascribing your identity into your decisions, is much more individualistic than trying in some way to like shift the decision-making center outside of yourself.
But why would you put your faith in like a power that's causing so much suffering?
Yeah, but still,
there's more people suffering than there are people, living well.
Yes, I mean that's the challenge, but it's like that's where you say that everything's moving and conspiring in its own way to get to some other story that we don't know, that the parts haven't come together yet in order to get everything to fit together.
And I suppose the shift, like when you make the shift, you're not ignoring the first 30 years of your life. You're still taking that into account.
Yeah. And I think also if you're living on a more instinctive like way of living and you actually react to things around you in a very like pure, authentic way, you can actually begin to be much more helpful and useful to those aspects of the world which are causing suffering. Like you can actually like...
So I do agree with this. This is kind of like how I started the charity. Like I bumped into these people with Down syndrome, like had a chance meeting in a bathroom where this guy was having a nosebleed, and then I helped him with his nosebleed, and then they invited me out to dinner, and I ended up starting my own charity based off that experience. And it was kind of just going with the flow, and like, this is what the universe wants me to do. So maybe that is, but I don't know how much of, I don't know if that's proof of this idea that it
no,
will
I don't think,
but yeah.
I don't think that's proof, but the whole point is that there is no proof because nothing, the story doesn't arrange itself until the end.
Until the end.
And maybe at the end it doesn't arrange itself. It's just that...
Yeah, but maybe it never ends.
Yeah, maybe it never ends. But then what's the problem?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It was like...
Yeah, but I think part of it maybe comes down to making your mark on the world or something like that. These things that we're taught from a young age.
Which are so individualistic. These are all ego-based things.
Exactly.
No? I don't know.
Well, why are we doing a podcast?
Yeah, well, just because like I wanted to brag about how I feel a little bit better.
How
I can stay in bed for like 2 weeks and be just like, I got faith.
It's good, yeah.
I got faith that Netflix will like...
So I think actually, so a lot of this, I think the greatest embodiment of that is our Instagram page. Because we kind of put stuff up there.
It's all very haphazard.
It's like quite haphazard and we're just like, all is well.
Yeah. Like I follow a lot of the crap you tell me to do, which I would be like, oh fuck, I would not want this in the public domain.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but we're kind of, and we're also just kind of like, and like some people will like it if other people don't like it. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I think our podcast is maybe the greatest embodiment of that philosophy.
Yeah, because it's all a stream of consciousness nonsense that we just throw into the world and we don't really care what happens.
Exactly.
And I think people respond to that.
Yes,
in some way.
Yeah.
But I think me and you definitely live and always have lived pretty much by serendipity.
Yeah. No, but also that comes with chasing the story.
Yeah, not necessarily. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why there's some difference. Something seems to be different because we've both always lived by chance and by serendipity and all these sort of poetry. Yeah, and you're right. It's mixed in with the story.
Yeah,
but
there's something different now.
It's something different, but it's like not quite what I can put I also don't know how it might last until Tuesday, and then I'll be like, fuck this nonsense.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that you're actually happy in this shift and you found it freeing. Yeah. That may make it more permanent.
Yeah.
Well, until you meet Rennie again in this noodle bar, and then you'll be like, yeah, let me shift back.
Yeah, I mean he's a very ridiculous man, and I don't need to follow his. Like, I don't need to subscribe to the same. So wait, he's married, by the way.
Wait, I just realised. Sorry, this shift isn't anything. It's still an expression of your nihilism and your individualism, because somebody followed your theory and got some benefit from it. You're like, I'm great. Let me tell more people about this theory on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm still not following it.
No. But the podcast can be egotistical. The story can be egotistical.
But the shift
can be real. But also, it might not be real. Like, I mean, there's no... Like, there's no reason. Like, nobody needs to believe it or not believe it or anything. It's just like, it just feels like there's a shift, and maybe I'm just talking about it. And that's very egotistical to talk about it. But I also think it's like, maybe can be a benefit. And
Yeah,
people live way more faithfully, way more faithfully and like surrenderingly less attached to outcomes than I do.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
it's also taken me like, it's not like I did it very easily. It took me 10 years to... what I found interesting is that once something is physically embodied,
Yes.
I found like somebody just taught me the things that I've been trying to teach myself for so long by physically embodying it.
Okay. No,
In a very ridiculous idiocy.
So I think the final question is that a lot of people who live faithfully, their faith is specifically in a higher power. And some call it God, some call it energy, some call it, a lot of things. Is your faith based on that same concept?
I mean, like, yeah, but I think I think the notion of, like, God and all that sort of stuff, like, I would, if you want me to talk about it, I would, like, say that sort of stuff, but it's too intellectual a notion for what I'm really talking about. Like,
Yeah. You're really
like,
just talking about following yourself, following your feeling.
Yeah, I guess. And things will just, like, it's just, but I think my definition of God is just, like, this kind of ever-evolving, like, creative energy that moves through us. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not, everybody sees God as something benevolent, purely benevolent, but I'm not saying this is purely benevolent. It's just the way the universe moves.
Okay, wait, so, sorry about this. So I live my life in this way, and I make a lot of decisions based on what I perceive to be intuition, but I regularly test my intuition. So, like, if I think someone's a twat, I'll meet them again to test if my feeling about them was true. Right? Or...
but that doesn't sound... That's not an intuition. You're saying, I think that someone's a twat. You've used the word think, and you've used twat, which is identification. This is just a judgment.
Okay, no, fine. Sorry, a better example would be if I see someone on the tube and I just get a vibe from them, I'll test it. I'll test what that vibe is.
Yeah, but...
By going up to them and testing it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess...
The point of the question is that the instinct or the intuition is still coming from within me. It's not based on something outside of me. It's still coming from within me. So you're still basing things on things coming from within you, not from outside of you.
No, this is just a question of how you frame things, or the semantics of... I think it's slightly different. As opposed to...
Wait, semantics are everything, though.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Semantics are everything.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't... Whether you're saying it's within you or outside of you, or like you don't really see any... Like, essentially, if you do this to a very intense degree, which is not what I'm saying I do, is that you don't really see that much distinction between yourself and the outside world. And not yourself. So
I think it's part about like the disillusion of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like there's an impetus that maybe moves through you that this is what's meant to be done, and you're part of this thing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But it's not that I feel this way, and so I am going to test whether this is a good feeling to have. Yeah. It's more just like, there's a feeling, move with it.
Yeah, no, okay, so I know, I actually do agree with everything you're saying. I think it's important just to make you explain it to a very intense degree.
Yeah, but have I done that? Probably not.
Probably not. But I think if this is how you're going to live your life, I think it's important to...
At least until like 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I have faith that if I'm meant to become cynical and like,
Okay, well, I'm quite hungry.
atheistic,
What do you want to eat?
I don't want to eat anything.
You don't want to eat anything?
But we, the universe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat?
Chips.
Yeah. What do you want to eat?
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't want to eat. We, the universe, wants to eat chips.
Oh, chips.
Yeah. What else? That's all I want to eat.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing's really shifted if you still want to eat chips all the time.
No, but now I don't have mayonnaise on anymore.
Huh?